Good afternoon everyone, welcome back to the channel. In the first instalment for this channel I did my journey with photography and I mentioned a few of the cameras that I'd been through, starting off with the 1200D and then getting up to the Canon EOS R7. So we had a brief touch in this video, so today we're going to look into it a bit deeper, and some attachment lenses, and actually getting it up and running. So, and I'll probably include some images that I've taken using the lenses. Now, this being a RF mount camera, so what it came with in the box came with the usual Canon carry strap, which is extremely comfortable and quite easy to install on the side of it. Also came with the charger, and of course the batteries inside the camera. So the first thing I'd like to look at is actually starting up the camera. So what we have on the bottom of the camera is where we have our battery installation, which is in the bottom of the camera, and it's simply just click it and the battery pops out. Now it's a slightly rectangular battery, so if you do need to get a second battery, it's got all its serial codes and whatnot on it for you to buy it. Pop that in and close the lid. And then on the opposite side we have all our ports. So we have a HDMI and USB port on the side. So they're all underneath their retrospective little covers. Up the top we have a mic, external mic pin, and underneath one side we have our USB-C port and a headphones pin. These are all pretty well in description in the manual, so you can have a look at it. And there's another pin down the bottom there. What I have used with this so far is the USB-C drive pin at the side of it. So getting back to the camera itself, it's quite lightweight. There is a number of peripherals on the top with a dial where you can select all your necessary settings that you wish to use, being autofocus, creative ISO, manual focusing. So there was quite a few. There's a lot of selections on the top there. Basically, it just depends on how you want to operate your camera. I first started off on autofocus, which gave me an idea as to where I was at. And when you do take a photo with the autofocus on, inside the camera itself, it tells you what the ISO setting is, shutter speed, and a lot of things like that. The three main things I generally look at through taking a photo is ISO, which allows enough light to come in through the sensor, and shutter speed, which is it leaves your shutter open and to allow enough light in, so you don't under or expose your shot. And then another things I take into consideration is depth of field, probably in layman's terms, meaning how far away your object is from your camera. So it's a good 3 or 4 basic things to pick up on and to learn on. At the top is your cold foot, where you can take your flash out with a little removable black clip at the front. Simply just clips out. Some of them have open, and then on top of that there is some your left and right navigation keys, your delete, your play buttons, and then you have a dial up the top there. Now they can all be adjusted to how you want to set up your camera inside your menu, which I'll get to very shortly. And then on the opposite side over here, undo the clip, it pops out, and then inside there you have the facilities. I don't know if that's coming up. You have the facilities for 2 of your SD cards. So if you're planning on taking a lot of photos, and depending on what megapixels you've used, as well as your whether it's HDMI or otherwise, as to how many you can put on there. So now we come to the back of the camera. Up the top you have your viewfinder with a nice cushion on the front. Now I myself wear glasses when I'm out taking photographs, and so I have distance glasses as well as reading glasses. So if I'm using the viewfinder, I need to have these glasses on. But what you can do is there is an adjustment wheel at the side of the camera where you can adjust the viewfinder to suit your eyesight. So you're not having to flip up and down your glasses if you need to do it, or if you don't wear glasses, you simply just set it to what suits your eyesight. And then we go over to the back of the camera again. We have a flip out. I think it's about a 3-inch screen, which you can open out to the side as such, or if you wish to have it on the back of the camera, simply rotate it over and flip it back around, and there you have your camera. You can view it from the side. So one of the things I did actually use this for at the time was I was down at Caversham Park here in Perth, and I was able to, I couldn't see over people's heads, so I simply turned it out as such, tilted it back so I could see it, held the camera at the height that I wanted to, turned the screen down so that the camera would pick up what I wanted, and I could still see it from above eyesight. So that is a good trait, a good feature with this camera. And also through this being the EOS R7, it is a dual. Well, no, it has the crop sensor factor as well as mirrorless. So meaning when you take your photograph, as I've mentioned probably before, if you have different subjects in front of you, whatever you see with your eyes, you will see in your photo. Whereas in non-mirrorless cameras, what you see in your eyes when you see your photo will be opposite. So the idea of mirrorless is very widely accepted. So now coming to our lenses, when I purchased the camera, it came with this 18 to 150 zoom lens as a standard lens. Now, as I mentioned, it's an RF mount, which the alternative with a lot of the DSLR cameras is EF mount. EF mount is slightly bigger than RF mount. So what we'll do is I'll just take, we will put that aside for a sec. Now I will attach the lens. So now this is quite simple. Twist your cover to take that off, which will expose your inside of your camera. And we try not to get any light inside it because it can be quite detrimental to the inner workings of the camera. So now having do that, you simply attach your camera. There is two line-up marks on the lens. There is a red and a white spot. Generally, at the bottom of the lens there is a little few brass things where it will actually talk to each other. So we turn this very carefully until we drop it into place, which should happen quite simple. That's if I can get it right. Bear with me for a second here. Oh, there we go. So that's clicked that into place nicely. So that's it. That's it mounted. And it's a relatively short lens, which doesn't add to the weight of the camera. It's all in all, it's a quite lightweight camera. I'll turn it on in a second, and we can have a look at some of the features in the menu. So now, again, very simple. Now, also on the top of the camera, we also have a video recorder separate switch. So this is capable of video recording as well as still shots. And I have used this through overseas in some video footage of a couple of places I went to, and it's all very good, very fluent. As long as you have quite a steady hand, you won't get much movement through it. And even better, if you have a tripod, then you won't get any shakiness through it at all. So a little red spot there, if you can see it, is where your recording button is. So we'll turn this out and we'll have a look at what's on the camera. Now I don't know whether I'm going to be able to get this properly, but on the top you'll have a little thingy switch. Flip it over and then your camera will start up, and then that's where your screen lights up. You probably can't see much of it, but hopefully it's not too bright. So getting into our menu, there is a little button at the left hand top side of the camera. Press that, takes it into video mode, not video mode, sorry, takes it into your menu. Now there is your menu screen. You can use the top dial to scroll through your settings to where you want it, and I think your left hand button on the side there does the same things. It all depends on how you have your camera configured. So amongst the settings we have with the camera is the camera settings itself. As you go through and learn to play with your camera, you'll figure this out. So the camera itself has several headings. One you have for your camera, and then you have AF AF, which is all your autofocus settings, and some of the headings subject to detect eye detection, autofocus screen. So at the moment we're just in still shot mode. You have your playback, which is that with some various selections. I won't go into too much detail with it, it'll make it too long. Then you have your Wi-Fi selection, where you can connect via Wi-Fi or Bluetooth to, for one of better thing, the Canon Camera Connect app, or other devices which you wish to try and hook up. There is an airplane mode, Wi-Fi settings adjustments. So there's a lot on the screen, and that's just for still shot work. Screen brightness, viewfinder brightness. So you do have a very wide range of settings that you can have for your camera. This is more not a camera for beginners because it is quite involved. So when you go over to video, you then go back into your video menu, and you have a different range of settings again for how many frames a second it'll go, for want of a better word, in your video footage. Whether you want slow motion, and a lot of other stuff. A lot of the videos are in RAW or MPEG, I think it is. So you've got all that you can go through and check and change. So all in all, this is a very good little camera for me. As I said, it's not for beginners because it is quite involved. But as you go through your journey, you will pick up more experience, more knowledge of settings and whatnot. And of course, then you can always take a camera course if you want to, which I plan to do hopefully at a later date. So with this lens, there is quite a range from 18mm out to 150mm, which is quite handy for pulling subjects closer to you without having to step forward to it. So the next thing I'm going to look at is one of my lenses, which is this big boy. This is an 18-400, which has probably got an extra 250mm, for want of a better word, zoom range, which it will pick up on a subject that you're trying to take a photo of or video of, and you'll be able to pull it closer so you can get more detail to have it fit inside the frame. And this is probably the frame of the picture or the photo. And this is what a lot of it is about, is seeing and getting as much as you can in the frame of your shot or of your photo shot, which is where a lot of, as I say, a lot of things come into play. I could delve into that even further, but probably might not. A lot of people might not understand. So what we're going to look at now is this lens is known as an EF mount. EF mount is slightly bigger than RF mount. So to keep using the existing lenses I had from my 1500 and my 1200, they both had EF mount lenses. I purchased what's known as an EF to RF mount adapter, depending on which one you buy. The basic one, which is what I have here, is up around about 150, I think, $150 Australian. Whereas if you go to another one, which is available. It has what's known as a control ring on it, and this lens has one of those. The control ring is something different from your focus ring or your zoom ring. It enables you to switch from two pre-selected settings on your camera if you're in the manual focus system. So, which you can either have it set to ISO or shutter speed, aperture, or whichever other settings you have. So it simply means that when you're in the middle of a photo shoot or a video shoot, or perhaps even still shot would be better, you simply click your control ring, and you can flip to your ISO to adjust that, or you can flip to your aperture to adjust that. Just depends on what you how you want to have it set up to. So we've turned the camera off now. Now on the side of your camera you will find there is a button. So you simply turn the button, release your lens, and as I mentioned, it's an EF mount lens, and this is where the adapter comes into it. On one side of it you have the slightly smaller adaptation plate, and then on the other side it is slightly bigger. So that's to take the EF mount of the camera. So on the camera itself there is a red square, and then there's a red spot on the adapter. So you line the two of them up and simply, there you go, push him in, turn him till you hear the click. So that now enables us to use our EF mount lenses. So now we take the little cover off the back of this, and again we have, no we don't, no. This is like I say, this is a Tamron lens, and it's designed for Canon cameras. So not having a little red mark to work from, I'm sure there's not one there. No, generally on the bottom you'll find a series of copper spots on it, and that's usually what makes it talk to each other. So once you've got that carefully slipped in, turn it, and it clicks in. So this particular lens, as I said, was the 18-400, very good for pulling the subject very close from a distance. An example was, I think I was in Singapore recently on the opposite side of an estuary, down there on the way into Universal Studios, and there was a nice sailing ship on the opposite side of the estuary. So I popped the camera out, got my subject in view, and then operated the zoom up to bring it much closer to me, so it fitted in the frame where I wanted it. Just pressed my shutter button slightly, which brought it into focus, and then pressed it firm again and took the shot, and it absolutely worked. It was magic. It worked out very well. So adjusting your zooms through your lenses, they commonly call it F. So focal point. So I think it's focal point. Like if you were to go f2.4, it's a focal point of 2.4 meters. I'm pretty sure. If you go f5.6, it's 5.6 millimeters. I'm not quite sure of that one, but anyway. So when you're purchasing lenses, you can go f2.4, f2.8, f1.4, and it all just depends on your depth of field where your subject is. I've probably got some of this terminology a bit twisted around and confused, but so as I say, this lens is from Tamron. I do have some other lenses, one being a Canon EF 100 macro lens. That's set to 100mm only, and I'll review and include some images of that down the track. Then another one being 24 to 70. That's a EF mount, I think. And then I've got the 14 to 35 wide-angled lens. Now that's an RF mount, so I don't need to have an adapter with that for this phone. So camera. So that's it. It's probably a little bit of an in-depth, a bit more of an in-depth look into the camera, which for me, stepping up from the 1500D to this has been probably a bit, not a lot. It's been quite a good learning curve, getting used to it and getting adjusting to it, and that's basically what it takes. Well, I've had no training in cameras. I've sort of just learned as I've gone. So it's not impossible to get some good shots and good video footage when you're out and about in the field or out on holidays with family and friends. So I think on that note, I will wrap this one up. And if you do have any questions or subjects I can probably touch on a bit more, I will endeavour to. Just leave a comment in the comment section below. And if you like the video, please hit the like button and the notification bell for future uploads. Please do subscribe. If the more people subscribe, the more people I know have hopefully gained some knowledge, or it's helped them out in their journey with their photography. So as I always say, thank you for watching.
Go now? Are you walking down that way?
ตัวขอแทน